This is a song that I did not write. It's written by John Prine about a woman, I believe, that lived a life where what she desired, she didn't get because she decided to live in the problem.
It's a hard way to go.
Well, this actually happened to a writer on his way home from work one evening a few years ago. He went to a Taco Bell at a mall to get a bite, and he had a $50 bill, and he had a $2 bill. So he says to the counter girl,
"One 7-layer burrito, please. To go."
That'll be $1.04, please.
He hands the girl the $2 bill. He looks at it kind of funny.
Hang on a sec, I'll be right back.
She goes and talks to the manager.
Hey, did you ever see a $2 bill?
No. A what?
$2 bill, this guy just gave it to me.
Ask for something else. There's no such thing as a $2 bill.
Yeah, I thought so. Sir, we don't take these. Do you have anything else?
Just this 50, but why don't you take $2 bills?
I don't know.
See here, it says legal tender.
Yeah.
So why won't you take it?
Hold on, hang on a second.
The manager had been watching him like he was a shoplifter the whole time.
He says I have to take it.
Doesn't he have anything else?
Yeah, a 50. I'll get it if you could open the safe and get change.
I'm not opening the safe with him here.
Well, what should I do?
Tell him to come back when he has real money.
I can't tell him. I can tell him.
Oh, just tell him.
No way. This is weird. I'm in the back. I'm going in the back.
The manager warily approaches the guy and says,
I'm sorry, we don't take big bills this time of night.
It's only 7 o'clock. Well then, here's the $2 bill.
We don't take those either.
Why not?
I think you know why.
No, really. Tell me why.
Please leave before I call mall security.
Excuse me?
Please leave before I call mall security.
What on earth for?
Please, sir.
Go ahead. Call them.
Would you please just leave?
No!
Fine, have it your way.
Isn't that Burger King?
At this point, the manager goes to the phone and calls mall security. People from the dining area are beginning to stare. A minute later, the mall guard comes in. Now remember, this is verbatim. This actually happened.
Mike, what's up? This guy is trying to give me funny money.
Okay.
Now, never having seen a $2 bill, we can understand why the guy thought he was trying to pull a fast one on him. Well, we think, I've seen a $2 bill. I may have used a $2 bill on occasion. What is the problem? If we've never experienced something, how do we know it's real? If you've never seen a $2 bill, if you're from some backwater, or maybe in Arkansas somewhere, perhaps you had never seen or even heard of $2 before. Are they real? Well, not to you. What about those who have never seen any kind of substantial money in their lives? Is $1 million, $500,000, $250,000 possible to have in your life if you've never experienced it or even knew anybody who had that? Can you actually conceive of $1 billion? Just seems like a really strange concept, doesn't it? Or you may think they don't make that kind of money, or I would never have $1 million, $500,000, or anything close to that in my life. $1 million couldn't happen in 1,000,000 years for me. What about those who have never had a happy relationship or a happy marriage? Maybe those who have never seen a happy marriage among family or friends. Is it possible? Can it happen? Not that I've ever seen. Outside of Ozzie and Harriet, maybe the Cleavers. But they weren't real people. Well, Ozzie and Harriet were, but we know that wasn't real. And yet, those who have never seen a positive, joyful, happy relationship keep getting into one with the hopes that maybe this guy, this woman will be the one. If country music composers ever wrote about how happy their marriages were, they'd be out of business. Here are some country tunes. I don't know these songs, but I just kind of fell in love with the titles. If the phone don't ring, you'll know it's me. Get your tongue out of my mouth as I'm kissing you goodbye. I don't think I want to hear that one. I can't love your body if your heart isn't in it. That's kind of a unity song, isn't it? If you can't live without me, why aren't you dead yet? Ooh. Sorry I made you cry, but at least your face is clean. Now this, I don't even know what this song would sound like, but I love the title. Get off the table, Mabel, the $2 is for the beer.
Oh, jeez.
Don't go there.
I would have wrote you a letter, but I couldn't spell yuck. Here's my favorite. Jesus loves you, but I don't. Do you think you can get that ready for the next time, Michelle? You ever see the lives of country western people? They always seem to be, they don't seem to be the happiest people. Oh, look, they're singing all the time. It's sad. Or how about somebody who has been depressed their whole lives and wouldn't know what not being depressed feels like? I knew a woman at the Unity I served years ago. She told me that her mother and father both had severe depression and that she was essentially born with it. She had that condition from early childhood, and she said, Unity has given her a peace like nothing she's ever felt before. She looked so forward to Sunday morning, to classes, to retreats, but she said life outside the Unity building was still essentially gray and lifeless. She told me, close to tears, on Sundays I feel so good, but then I leave and I feel like Dorothy going back to Kansas. Anybody ever feel kind of that way? Yeah, it's wonderful here, isn't it? It's one we come here to remember and know that we are divine, having this wonderful human adventure. But then we go home and we have to deal with so many things. How do I bring unity and what I've heard on Sunday morning or classes into my life? For a long time, when I first got into Unity, I felt the same way. I wondered whether or not Unity was simply a feel-good, rah-rah message that really didn't translate from Monday to Saturday. I felt great and hopeful and joyful during the service, but then I would leave and real life, so to speak, began to hit me in the face. And I'd feel stressed and worried about, am I going to make enough money being a bartender or being a waiter? Am I ever going to work again in the theater? Is this life going to work for me the way that I need it to? Emily Cady, we saw her just a few minutes ago in our Women of Unity clip there. She tells about a time when her medical practice wasn't prospering at all. She truly felt that she had trusted God with bringing forth everything that she needed in life. She prayed for 2 full years for abundance to overflow. She often felt that she didn't have enough money for household expenses, and occasionally she said she would go for days without food. Fed up with being broke for so long, she yelled to God, why this failure? Why haven't you provided? Why did you fail to provide for me when I'm doing this work for you? She said all of a sudden a scripture from Genesis 1 popped into her head. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. What does that mean? God said, let there be light, and there was light. It didn't mean anything to her. So she kept repeating the words over and over again. And as she spoke, the word said came out more forcefully. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. And then suddenly she got it. Never once in all the 2 very difficult years she had just had of lack had she said or spoken the words out loud for more abundant supply. It was all inside. It was all inner, internal work she was doing. That it was her responsibility and her work to put the word, the principle, into practice, to actually speak the word with passion. The operative word here for her was God said. So the saying was the action, was actually putting the principle to work. As a co-creator with God, she had to activate abundance within her. She had to direct abundance into her life. She had to declare abundance was undeniably hers. She had held it in prayer in her heart, in the secret, in quiet. She believed it was her right to have it. She knew God wasn't withholding it, but it was passively sitting there inside of her for 2 years, which is why she didn't see anything happening. Now she was directed, as she wrote, to vigorously speak the word into the great ocean of divine substance. The great phrase. The great ocean of divine substance for something much desired. Within a very short amount of time, as Emily was powerfully affirming that truth, that she had unlimited funds, that there was no lack anywhere, she said a total stranger personally gave her the exact amount of money she was declaring and affirming to the universe was hers. She didn't go into any details. She never divulged any of the details of who it was. But she said, I never again, ever had to worry about financial lack. I had more than enough for the rest of my life. It was that life-changing realization about asking for her good out loud that made all the difference. It changed her life. Whatever it is that you and I are looking for in life, no matter how long you and I have been looking for it, the missing element might be we haven't asked for it. As simple as that. asking for it vigorously, passionately, repeatedly, faithfully, tirelessly, and then acting on what we receive from God directing us next. Sometimes people say, you seem like you're badgering us about our affirmations. I do, because we need to bump it up. We need to bump up that energy from within. The power of zeal is one of our divine 12 faculties. And if I'm not zealous and excited about the good coming forth, as I have been about the negative stuff happening in my life, it's simply not going to show up in the way that I need it to. The fifth basic unity teaching is that it's important to know spiritual truth, but then we have to gratefully, joyfully, and passionately put it into action as a celebration. As the letter of James says, faith without works is dead. In unity, we would say, the thought we're holding, thoughts or prayers, the thought that we're holding without putting it forth and getting excited about it is nothing. It's nothing if I'm not excited. If you're not excited about the good, who is? Nobody's going to get excited for you. Maybe your mom or somebody you love, but they're not you. You can sit in your living room and affirm truth till you pass out. I am talented and a brilliantly well-paid cupcake maker. But if you don't go forth and make the cupcakes and listen to who Spirit has working with you, it's just a great idea. And somebody else will take that idea. Do you ever have a great idea and all of a sudden you go, hey, they took my idea? Well, they didn't take it. It was the universe for you to accept, but you didn't move on it and somebody else did. So we have to leave the apartment or the home occasionally to get out and do what we're being led by Spirit to do. Dr. Larry Dossey has written a number of wonderful books on medicine and spirituality. And in one of the books, he writes about a woman named Rita Kloss, a 20-year-old cloistered nun, who developed signs of MS in 1960. Unable to continue in the convent, she left and she got a teaching degree. She married, she had 3 kids, and as the years went by, she ended up in a wheelchair as the disease continued to progress. The doctor separated her leg tendons from her kneecaps to allow her to hobble around a little bit, but in doing so, that guaranteed that she would never actually walk again. The doctors told her that with her progression, it was just a matter of time before she would be completely bedridden. One night she had a dream that she was being directed to go to a healing site in Europe, but she didn't have the resources to go. A month later, somebody gave her the money, a miracle, God's law at work. So she went and she returned home without any physical change. On the flight back, as she was praying, very disappointed that nothing was actually happening, she heard a gentle but very clear voice. We know that voice. That voice was saying, "Why don't you ask?" So she prayed passionately and declared joyfully that she was healed of her dis-ease. She powerfully affirmed to God that she was asking and accepting total, complete healing, however that was going to look. She said, "I leave this to Spirit, but I know I'm healed." She got home, and the next day she got up, she went to teach her class in the wheelchair, and as she was teaching, she felt a sensation of heat and itching in her lower legs, and for the first time in years, she was wiggling her toes. She thought it was just a muscle spasm. When she got home, she removed her leg braces, and she noticed that her right kneecap was back into its normal position from its sideways position that happened after the operation. She removed her socks, tucked up her skirt, and she ran up the stairs, screaming with joy, "I'm healed." In the book, Dr. Dossey says, the doctors who convened to examine her were flabbergasted. She said, "One of my doctors saw me and started to laugh. He thought I must have a twin that I brought in to play a practical joke on him." Her neurologist said, "He was so angry. He said, there is no cure for this. He even called people at the hospital and told them I was a fraud and a fake." The beginning of her healing was Spirit reminding her to ask for what she wanted. Why don't you ask for it? Why don't you just get clear about what it is and ask? Put the word out there. That's the second requirement of having the life that we all came to live. Our great teacher said, you don't have because you don't ask. Very clear, very simple. If you want something, you ask for it. Ask, declare, affirm, again, passionately, enthusiastically, and watch the power activate and bring forth what we're looking for. It might look totally different than we think it will look, but it will be perfect for us. But again, it has to be passionate. You've got to put as much energy into the positive as we do for the negative. We've been complaining a lot in our lives. We learn from each other how to complain. But we need to turn that around and get real excited about what is coming forth for us. So, number one is passion and enthusiasm. Number two, joyfully ask for what's yours. And the third step is act as if. Dale Carnegie taught his students, act as if you are happy now and you will be happy. Shakespeare wrote, assume a virtue if you have it not. We have to rehearse the life we want sometimes. When you get up tomorrow morning, rehearse getting excited. Even if you think there's nothing to get excited about, rehearse getting excited. Rehearse being healed. Rehearse being wealthy. Wake up and say, I am the wealthiest person in the world. God, what do we do today? Rehearse having the perfect mate in your life. Or rehearse being happily single, if that's the way you want to go. Practice the kind of life you would like to have, and then one day, you will wake up with that life. Dr. Andrew Weil tells of a patient who came to see him for a second opinion with a very bizarre story. She told him, the head neurologist took me into his office and told me I had this degenerative disease. The doctor let that sink in for a moment, and then he went out of the room and he brought in a wheelchair. And he told me to sit in it. And I said, why? And he said, I want you to buy a wheelchair and sit in it every hour, every day for an hour, to practice for when you will be completely disabled. She said, I told him what to do with that wheelchair. Put it away. Smart woman. Don't practice for disability. Don't practice being afraid. Don't practice for anything but being the powerful creation of God that we are. Joyful, healthy, wealthy. What is it you want to see? Act as if you are already. Actors have to do that when they're in the moment for 2.5 hours. After that, we very often have to breathe and let that go. I played Billy Bibbit in Cuckoo's Nest. And for half an hour, I just had to breathe my diaphragm back into not stuttering again. I had to get out of Billy and back into me. So as you pretend and act as if, your subconscious says, oh, this is real. This is actually happening. And then eventually, we are drawing ourselves to the very thing that we're looking for. So I take a breath, breathe out, breathe in again. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture the life that you would like to have. Don't think, oh, I can't have this because, let that go. That hasn't worked. Try something new. Take a new thought, a new idea, a new way of doing this life. How would you like your body to feel and be? How would you like your career to look? How do you want your home to look? Who is in your life? Who is gently being released in love back to the universe? Anything we can imagine, we can have because it comes from Spirit. So breathe gratitude and joy and love into this truth. The life I desire is here now. The life I desire is here now. Feel it, know it, breathe that truth in. And as we deepen our time of meditation, we sing our way in. I invite you to join us or simply listen to the words. In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there, peace is there, truth is there, God is there. Take another cleansing breath. Relax into your seat. Let the chair support your weight. Simply focus on your heart. What does your heart desire? This is your true God self that knows exactly why we came to the planet. We came to celebrate the power and joy of our divinity in human form. We now release the idea that being in this form is limiting. The only limits are the ones I hold in my mind, the ones that I hold in my belief system. There's only one power and presence at work in my life, God the good. No ifs, ands, or buts. Spirit is here right now. Do I say yes to this good? Or have I been arguing for my limitations? Today I get enthusiastic, joy-filled, and grateful about the good that I know is mine. How it shows up is not mine to know until it is revealed. My job is to say thank you. Speak out loud with passion the good I'm seeking, and know it is being drawn to me like a magnet right now. Breathe into your heart. As the ancient writings say, you shall decree a thing, and it'll be yours. So today we decree total wholeness. I ask, and I receive total wholeness, strength, power, the fullness of God in every cell and tissue of my being. From head to toe, I am revitalized, renewed, and restored perfectly. Get out of your head and into your heart, and let Spirit reveal the truth. I am whole and well. Today I know that abundant good is mine. I ask joyfully, enthusiastically, and I receive more than I could ever imagine. The only limitation is my belief in lack. Today I let that go. It is not the truth. of this creation of spirit. Love, harmony, divine order is at work at home and at my work. I am loved and I am loving. I am guided perfectly in all areas of my life right now. I know what to do and how to do it. In the silence of my being, I allow Spirit to reveal this truth. Let go. And let God. Take a breath. Breathe out. Bring this joy, this love, this awareness of my oneness with God back into this place for this time. Take another breath. Let go. As we bring ourselves back, we sing our way back with the greatest thing in all my life. Loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you more. I want to love you more. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you.
This is a beautiful George Harrison song.
Give me love, peace on earth, give me light, give me free from love, give me hope, help me cope with this. Every load's lying take hold.